Hey friends, it's Rachel with the Ponds Farmhouse, and I'm here today to share with you some fun ideas for Valentine's Day. What we're going to be using is we're going to be using some of these Dollar Tree metal frames, and I'm going to show you several different ways that you can create fun and decorative Valentine's Day wreaths and different ideas with these frames. So one of the things that we're going to be doing is we're going to be making some paper roses, and I'm going to show you how to make those with either cardstock or craft paper. You can use old books, and we're going to actually see some of all of that today. I'm also going to show you how to make some other little smaller decorative flowers that we're going to be mingling in with these. And so we've just got lots to share with you here today. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a real quick little tutorial on how to do the flowers. We're going to, a lot of people want to know how to do these paper roses, and it's really a very easy, simple technique. So I'm going to bring the camera in a little closer and show you exactly how to do this. Okay, the very first thing is you need to cut your paper into squares. And so I am going, this is some cardstock that I have here that we're working with. What I'm going to do is just fold these into square pieces, and you need 4 square pieces, and they can be varying sizes. This is going to be a fairly small little rose, probably about the size of this one when we finish. But you can make them larger. But the key thing is that you want all of your pieces to be even. So I've already cut this cardstock down to a size that I was comfortable with, and I'm just taking and cutting these squares, and we'll get rid of the excess here. But once you have your 4 squares, they all should be the same size. You want to have them folded over as they are, and then you're going to fold it once again, and then one more time. So you're going to have, this is what you're going to have. And what you'll notice is that all of your folded sides are on one side, and then you kind of have the raw edges on the other. So then what you want to do is you want to cut, starting, making sure that your folded sides are right here. You want to cut this with an oval shape, and I just freehand it, but if you're not good at that, you can just go ahead and, but it kind of looks like an ice cream cone now. And then you want to cut the tip end off of your piece. And we're going to do that 3 more times, because you've got to have all of these 4 pieces done exactly the same way. Now, one tip that I will tell you is that if you're using thinner paper, this is cardstock, so it is a little heavy and harder to work with. But if you're using thin paper like old book pages or even craft paper, you can do, more than one of these at a time, which will save you time and energy. But like I said, this is cardstock, and it's a little tough to cut. So you want some really sharp scissors, and you want to get those little ends just as even as possible. This is the last one we've got. Then we'll have all 4 of our pieces ready to put together. And everything doesn't have to be exactly perfect. I try to line it up as much as possible, but I promise you that your roses will turn out looking gorgeous regardless. That out of the way. Now what we want to do is we want to open up each of our petals here. And the very first one, you're going to cut 1 petal out. You're going to remove one of the petals from the, okay. So there you go. We've got 1 petal here, there. Now we're going to, on the second one, what we want to do is we want to remove 2 petals. So we're going to go ahead and remove 2 petals. There's our next one. Then the next one, we're going to remove 3 petals. And finally, we're going to remove 4 petals are half. We're going to cut this one in half. Okay, so here we go. We've got all of our pieces together. Starting with the largest piece, what we're going to do is, I've got some Elmer's glue here, and we're just going to take a little glue and we're going to put it on the one petal and then bring the other petal in and connect it. Now I also have some paper clips because you want this glue to adhere, so I'm going to go ahead and paper clip that together and set it aside. Now we're going to go to the next one and do exactly the same thing. Just put some glue on it, cross them over, be sure to secure it with a paper clip. One thing that I have found is that if you're working with thinner paper, especially like old book pages, sometimes you don't even have to paper clip it. If you just press it together really good, the glue will absorb into the paper really quickly. Ladies over here. Now this is the one that's been cut in half. So when you finish with it, you've got 3 petals. And I'm kind of lining these up so you can kind of see what they look like as they're being put together. There we go. Now we've got the one that was 3 petals left. So what I'm going to do with this is, you're basically putting it in half. So I just fold that first one down, put this one right on top of it, and then open it up enough that I can get a paper clip in there. And there's another one finished. This one, okay, let me go ahead and show you this. This is the 2 petals. So what you want to do is kind of fold that in on both corners. I just folded about halfway in. And once it's folded in, then you open it back up. Go ahead and put some glue on one section of it. Then lap the folded pieces over, just like that. Can y'all see that? And then we're going to put the paper clip on it. And now we've got that one ready to go. The very last one is the most difficult because it's just 1 petal. But once again, you want to fold it about from a halfway point and then fold it again over the top of that so that you've got your little petal. Again, put some glue inside and push it together. Take a paper clip. A little tedious, but take your paper clip and put it in there just like that. So now you've got all of your pieces lined up and ready to go. So I'm going to get my next tools. We're going to let this dry for just a minute and we're going to get started. Okay, I'm back and we've let these dry for just a few minutes, and what we want to do now is we want to curl the petals outward. I have used several different things. I've used a like a paintbrush stick, but this little Allen wrench is actually one of the most effective things I have found for rolling it, because not only does it have the ridges in it, so it kind of helps to grip it, but then you also can turn it with a little end here. So let me just show you. Just want to start at the very top and just begin to wrap that around and then kind of turn it down. Even if it tears the paper a little bit, don't worry about it. It's still going to look beautiful when you finish, but you just want to curl every single petal around. And it doesn't take but a second to do it. I always wait and take the paper clip off the very last thing, just in case the glue hasn't dried. Now, you do not have to wait for it to be 100% dry. As long as it's adhering and the petals are together, you're good to go. So that's that first one. Then we want to move on to the next one. And if you're like me, I like to keep things in order as I'm going, so it just speeds up the process. So I'm going to go ahead and get these rolled really quickly, and then we're going to put them together for a beautiful rose. Okay, I have all of my petals curled now, and we're ready to start assembling the rose. So what we want to do is start with our very largest piece here. And I just realized that I must have failed to cut the end of that. So I'm going to just real quickly cut a little hole in this. It just works a lot better if there's a hole. I did not realize I failed to do that on the first one. So anyway, I like to use like a little glass or something. This little candle holder just fits perfectly because it just sits right on there. And this will help me to assemble. So I'm back to my Elmer's glue again. And we're just taking and we're going to paint the outer edges here just at the tip end. You don't need to do the whole thing. And then you just want to press this into the next layer. So now we're going to do the next one. And we're going to press it in. Again, as you go along, they'll stay in a lot better. Now you've got two the same size here, but what I try to do is just try to nestle them in as evenly as possible so that they're not like just overlapping. So I'm gonna cut this one in just a little bit crooked here so the petals look different. Then we've got the one that was just two petals, well it was three petals. Now we're gonna stick this in here. Then this was two petals. Put it in. And then finally, we have our very center of our rose, and we put some glue on that. Once again, place it inside. Kind of press them all down so that they're even. And ta-da, you have a beautiful rose. Now, I'm going to show you next how we did these little flowers. I did these in green because I wanted an accent. It's not really a leaf, but we're going to use them kind of like leaves to fill in. So let me go and get started on that one for you. Okay, the very first thing that I'm doing is I have turned my candlestick over because I'm drawing out this circle. The size of this is just about perfect. You can do various sizes of these as well, but I found that they don't really work much better if the bigger they get. So the smaller they are, the better you'll enjoy it. And then you also want to have a hot glue gun for this one and some finger protection. But what I'm going to do to begin with is just go ahead and cut these two circles out. And I've done a couple of different techniques on this, just testing it out to see which one I like the best. And they all look about the same, but they're kind of different in some ways. But again, you don't have to cut this perfectly. Just make sure that you get all the way around, get a circle going here. Then once you have your circle, what you want to do is cut into this and start cutting into it all the way around. And you want to make sure that you keep getting into the circle, going inward until you've got like a little round circle here at the end. So see how that looks? Try to put it in my hand so you can see it. And we're going to do this one the exact same way. This time I'm cutting it a little bit more blunt, just so I can get a quicker, easier maneuver in here. We're not going to do quite as many rounds on this one. Okay, so see it's a little thicker than this one, just slightly. And then the very first thing that I did was I will add a little bit of glue to this end, just a little bit right there on the very end. And what I'm going to do with that then is turning it the opposite direction. I'm going to glue it and kind of hold it there for just a little minute there so that it begins to adhere. And you could even put a paper clip on it. Let's do that. Let's go ahead and put a little paper clip on that, hold it in place. And we'll do the same thing on this one. Go ahead and get a little bit of glue. And you don't need a lot because you're just trying to get it secured so you can make this little circle. So again, kind of turn it. Oops. Try not to get it all over your fingers, but there we go. And we'll put a little paper clip on that one too. Okay, so now once those, it does not take but a few minutes for that to adhere, and then we'll go ahead and start putting them together. Okay, it's very important to have finger protection for this next step because you kind of have to hold on to this to make it work. So what we're going to do, this is the first one I did, so let's go ahead and take that paper clip off, and you'll see it's already adhering there. Then what you want to do is just continue to roll this around until you're keeping your bottom edge together as much as possible. And as you roll it around, then you're going to see that you're coming up here and you've got your little center nub. What you want to do is put some hot glue here. And I kind of just spread it all around because you want it to make sure it's going to hold this together. So what you're going to do is you're going to press this down on your circle. So you've got all of your circle there and you're pressing it down. And you have to hold that until you feel like the glue has had a chance to dry. So we'll hold that for just a second. And it's fairly quick and easy, so it doesn't take long. So see, now you've got your little flower. We're going to do the same with this one. We're going to roll it up. And you can roll it loosely or you can roll it tight, but I kind of like it loose personally. I like to get that feel there. And so now we've got it kind of loose, and we're going to put some hot glue on it, spread it around, and then adhere it down. So this one's a lot looser than the other one was, but that's okay. It doesn't really matter. There's no two flowers that are going to look exactly alike. So this one's going to be a little bit more spread out, and that's good. Now, once that glue has had a chance to dry a little bit, if it feels like it's still wanting to come apart, you can always come back into the center there and add a little bit more glue, because this one it's wanting to unfurl a little bit. So I'm going to put a little bit more in there and just hold it for a few more seconds, and then we're going to be ready to start assembling some of these different wreaths. Today we're going to be making 6 different wreaths out of 3 Dollar Tree frames by cutting some of them in 2. So we did that first, and now we're ready to wrap. Okay, we're going to wrap one of these smaller heart-shaped frames, the ones we cut the outer edge off of, and we're going to go ahead and wrap it real quickly. And just so you can kind of see, we're just going to begin in one spot and lap this over. Add some hot glue to it. Make sure you've got your finger protectors on. I didn't have mine ready. And then just lap that over and get it tight. We want that to stay there firmly. And then we're going to start wrapping it around once that's dry. Okay, so we're just going to pull it taut and wrap it. Get these off. I don't need those now. We're going to pull this as tight as we can as we go around. getting to a spot where you're running out, we're gonna pull that over. Got a few more loose pieces here, so we're just gonna start with those. And then start wrapping again. And still keeping everything pulled as tight as possible. And there we have it. We have our cute little fuzzy hearts. Okay, for this one, I have left the entire frame intact. This is the full frame from Dollar Tree. And I'm wrapping it with just some scrap fabric. And I'm just wrapping it with white because that's what I had. But beige or a pale pink would have been fine if I'd had that available. But you just want to do the exact same technique. Just wrap it around because this will allow us to hot glue the paper roses to the wreath real easily. This wreath doesn't have to be covered perfectly because we're going to be covering it completely with our paper roses. And so we're going to bring those around and we're going to start adding them to the wreath. And I've got a combination of colors, and all we're really going to do here is we're just going to add some hot glue to each tip and start arranging them. You're going to find that you may have to play around with the different arrangements, but they'll come together very quickly. I've used some different sizes here. One thing you want to be sure that you do is you can make your roses smaller or larger just by increasing the size of your squares. And I think it looks better if there's some variety there instead of everything being exactly the same size. Next, I'm preparing one of the single frames with some jute rope. This is going to be a more rustic looking Valentine's wreath with jute rope attached to the frame. We're using hot glue to attach it. And then we're going to be using old book pages to make the paper roses. And so it's going to be a really cute one. Wait until you see it. For a more elegant look, one of the single wreaths is wrapped with the Shepa fabric. So now it's time for the reveal. Let's take a look at how all 5 of the Valentine's Day wreaths turned out.